Yes, hello everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. And of course, to our last session today. Our theme today is all about connecting the challenges of the learners in the mathematics through the 21st century teachers. Of course, with the subtitle of Global Educational Challenges for the 21st Century Education. Of course, your host today, SHERLINA A. AGCOPRA, your Master Teacher. Before we proceed to our main topic, please don't forget to like and subscribe my YouTube channel. Okay? So sit back, relax, and enjoy our day with your host, of course. And, of course, your corrections, errors, understanding are under your care. Okay? So let's start with the introduction. As we approach the first quarter of the 21st century, schools, universities, industries, and society at large are asking fundamental questions about education. Whether you like it or not, we are in a paradigm-shifting age. Technological, demographic, social, environmental, economic, and political shifts are forcing us to redefine what our educational structure should be. Education has evolved and progressed in the recent years, bringing in different notions of learning. Classrooms, curriculum, pedagogies, learners' profile, and the overall system aim at catering better and effective learning to students, eventually resulting in success that lasts beyond the walls of the school. Learning is no more restricted to the age-old classroom lecture strategy. Students and parents expect much more of this digital era where holistic education is not just the trending term, but the new norm. Learning has expanded to students exploring the realm of their minds and the boundaries it can push. Teachers are expected to look beyond the ordinary and adapt different styles of pedagogy. And that don't just appease students but imbibe various intellectual, psychological, and social skills. Parents are more involved in their students' learning journey and rightly demand the worth of their money when it comes to their children's education. We all know that global COVID-19 pandemic has a huge destructive effect on normal life. For schools, students, and parents, the impact of closed schools and children stuck at home with a little knowledge of no access to learning, the effect has been devastating. Experts estimate the whole year of learning could be lost, meaning a whole cohort of students could be permanently lagging behind in their learning. That's why education department should in any way to continue schooling despite pandemic. This prompted the school managers to decide with the learning continuity plan the appropriate learning delivery modalities suited for their own context. In our school, we have these modalities to offer like modular, online, and blended. As the school year progresses from its opening last October 5, 2021, more and more challenges were encountered in a day-to-day delivery of the basic education services. Up to this time, we have so many countless challenges to face, and we continue to find ways and means to minimize the problems. As we define those challenges, try to look these few common challenges faced by our teachers in the 21st century. Now we have poor internet connection, as usual, family support, modules concern, pedagogy, lack of technical capabilities of the personnel, stakeholders' preparedness, issues on assessment, and wrapping some of these challenges encountered and for us to understand well and be able to digest in our mind on how to face and resolve each challenge. We'll start from stakeholders preparedness. Who are these stakeholders? Of course, we have these students, teachers, parents, school heads, and external partners. For the stakeholders, one of those are the students, and who could think, and we have to think, or have them to think, how will they cope with long periods of not being with classmates for physical and social interactions. Teachers, how to manage the stresses of teaching and students learning from a distance. Next, our school heads, how to manage the system processes and operations in remote education delivery or educational delivery. For our parents, how to manage the educational new responsibility of children going to school at home. For our external partners, how to sustain support to the resources of the school. The question, how long can our teachers and students ensure the responsibility knowing that any one of us can be sick anytime? One critical concern to look out for this new schooling environment, the mental health of teachers and students caused by anxiety. Next is our technology. Are we technologically prepared? Do we have a well-structured technology, ICT infrastructure that can accommodate our learners? Given the situation that 85% of our learners are coming from marginalized and poorest areas, how can technology be a matter of learning when resources are not available? Are all our learners and students, or rather teachers, equipped with skills to shift from traditional to technological-based teaching and learning? Are our technological gadgets available at home? Are the geographical locations of learners considered hotspots or hotspot to access strong signal connection? The question now, what are effective technologies to deliver education, content, and materials that will be used for school and learning centers? Are these technologies fitted for the context of the learners? What technologies, whether high or low tech, would work best in the distance learning. Now, even if in the face-to-face learning, the question of technology revolves around how to engage students in their own self-learning. And today, in the new normal, how would technology work in the learning process, considering our communities, our learners, and even our working forces are not prepared and not equipped with this? Next is pedagogy. How did pedagogy play part in the new normal? While the curriculum or subject comprising a course is the same whether classes are face-to-face or remotely delivered or through homeschooling, the pedagogy or method and practice of teaching is going to be different for each. Think of the difference between having a meeting where all participants are in the same room and a meeting via Zoom or Meets, where all participants are plugged in remotely. Participating in the online meetings require different attentions, protocols, and methods of managing meetings. Think of how much more tiring participating in such online meetings or are done in face-to-face meetings. Teaching such distance classes will require new methods and practices. But how did our teachers adjust to these pedagogical processes? In the same way, keeping children engaged over a long period of time without physical activities to break up the learning day will be a major challenge, especially for young children. So the question remains on how to engage children creatively in learning, particularly distance learning, under the new normal, without the presence of the teacher to check on how well the teachers or the learners are doing well at home. TVL or technology, vocational, and livelihood education being focused on practical skills and work readiness makes remote learning particularly challenging. Practical skills are often acquired through teaching, by doing which occurs by school-based workshops and laboratories or through hands-on experience of the workplace. Next is material resources. The schools are running out of resources due to overwhelming price cost of printing and equipment. The abrupt shift of learning from classroom face-to-face learning to modular-based learning design eventually led us to imbalanced expenditure, resulting to scarcity of school resources and finances. Even if our external stakeholders have been supporting, now the schools still would not warrant the sustainability in the reproduction of materials. The most challenging concern now is the ability to generate more resources to supply the whole printing of learning materials in schools. What else are the problems encountered in the content of learning materials? We have erroneous contents due to rush preparations. Key concepts are limited and not deepened. The activities and exercises provided are not suited to the multiple abilities of the students. Language use and degree of difficulties to different types of learners were not considered. Assessment designs in the materials are not sensitive to the abilities, interest, development preparedness, and available resources at home. These are only some of the many errors identified in our modules or learning materials. School heads, teachers, and other depth in charge are doing some strategic innovations and actions to counterpart and to minimize these common problems. Next is parental support. The question is, how will parents be able to manage to help their kids learn while looking for ways to earn? Or, how can they teach their children if they have not finished higher levels of education? What are the challenges encountered by parents? Most parents could not attend to their children because they are still working. Most parents could not assist their children because they find it hard to understand the lesson because it's beyond their comprehension. Next is the teacher support. This is the most difficult part of us, teachers. How teachers ensure that learners are learning from the modules? And how would teachers ensure that all learners are given equal attention, considering that there are still more tasks ahead that consume most of their time, unlike in physical classes where he or she can assess the student's comprehension with the material that he represents, or rather he or she presents. Distance learning somehow limiting to social cues for him to see if the students have absorbed his lessons. For a week, teachers must still do this task. So many tasks. Let's see. For a week, teachers will still do this task. Deliver and relieve the learning materials. That's what we are doing now. Print and sort learning materials the succeeding weeks. Prepare weekly plans. Prepare supplementary and remediation materials. Attend the LAC sessions and trainings. Check papers for formative tracking of students' progress. Follow up students for the activity of the week. And conduct home visitations. So, if these are going to be the work bombarding the teacher for the whole week, the tracking of learners' progress will become the last consideration of the teachers. There were even claimers now from the teachers that they find it difficult to follow our learners who live in hard-to-reach areas where transportation, phone, and internet are not accessible. As the year progresses from its opening last October 5, 2021, again, more and more challenges encountered in a day-to-day delivery of the basic education services. But what actions can be taken to minimize the challenges? Do you overcome, or how do you overcome the challenges brought by the new normal? The answer is a holistic and proactive approach is recommended to ensure immediate crisis remediation as well as a smooth transition to the new normal. One example is understand the new reality. Of course, we have to understand everything. Or conduct reassessment of school processes and mechanisms against the existing response response framework to understand scope and scale of impact on education system. If you can understand the reality, you can mitigate immediate impact of crisis from a policy, structure, social and finances, or rather financial perspective. Disregard what doesn't work well to improve what contributes to success. Second is build capabilities. Invest in building human resources, capabilities, and ensure teaching standards and skills for education delivery. Focus teachers' development program on the most essential, specifically on the needs and gaps in the implementation of the new normal. And the last is reactivate, or rather reinvent your model. Activate network of experts, innovators, and companies to support model redesign. Involve all stakeholders in the reinventions of systems, processes, and mechanisms so that they have ownership of the processes. Engage parents, teachers, and students to design new normal. Now the last question, how do you overcome the challenges brought by the new normal? Don't view everything that you have as essentials. Adjust your expectations. Focus on what you can do, not what you cannot do. Go on a politeness beach, or rather hinahinay lang. Think of this as a chapter in the book you are writing. Stay safe, healthy, think positive in all times, or rather positive in all tasks. In these trying times, we are compelled to come up with innovative and creative ways to implement our plans, to troubleshoot challenges, and together we can make bigger, better things happen. So let's work together. That's all for today. Thanks for listening. God bless everyone. And don't forget to like and subscribe my YouTube channel. Bye everyone!